As you may have noticed while touring around Europe or watching TV, many of the famous destinations there lack tall structures on the skyline. This may sound strange for such a sophisticated continent, but it is refreshing and offers an entirely different travel experience than Asia or the United States. In this video, we'll look at why Europe doesn't build skyscrapers. Most of the major European cities were already established when skyscrapers were first launched in Chicago and New York. Grand ancient buildings already dominated city centers, and European governments refused to surrender their heritage and tradition in favor of towering complexes. In a way, Europeans thought Americans were forsaking traditional values, while Americans thought European society was antiquated. You would think that following World War II's devastation, Europe would grasp the opportunity to rebuild its cities. Instead, it took the opposite approach, aiming to recover much of the heritage and culture that had been lost during the war. Rather than upgrading previous architectural designs, they just renovated. As a result, a large number of low-rise and, needless to say, appealing structures have returned to the neighborhood. In addition, post-war population forecasts were conservative, and there was no appetite for a spate of new structures. Planning laws and limits implemented in the 1960s and 1970s are another factor for the scarcity of skyscrapers in Europe. Several cities, most notably Brussels, began demolishing ancient structures and replacing them with more contemporary ones prior to the imposition of these limits. As a result, the term Brusselization was coined to characterize a city engulfed in unattractive, lifeless high-rises. This, combined with the boring utilitarian mid-rise blocks that were constantly being built in the ever-expanding Soviet Union, meant that the Brussels Tower block was reviled, and construction controls were enacted to ensure the European beauty was not supplanted by these architectural monstrosities. According to the building laws, any new development is required to preserve the city's cultural heritage. Many cities have specified areas where skyscrapers are allowed, ensuring that high-rise buildings do not obstruct historical and cultural landmarks. Canary Wharf in London, as well as La Défense in Paris, are examples of districts that are architecturally significant in their own right, but are distant from the main city. Legislation in London in particular ensures that historic structures such as the St. Paul's Cathedral, Big Ben and Westminster Palace have unrestricted vistas from afar, and as a result architects' design options are limited, as they must avoid interfering with the protected views. London currently has some of Europe's highest buildings, including the Shard, a 310-meter giant that is now the tallest tower in Western Europe. Only 218 skyscrapers exist in Europe as of 2019, the vast majority of which are located in just 5 cities: London, Paris, Frankfurt, Moscow and Istanbul. As a result, these cities do have a modern appearance, but that does not rule out the importance of culture and heritage. The difference can most clearly be seen when you compare the number of skyscrapers in Europe to those of the United States' 639 and Asia's 2,777. But perhaps this is about to change due to the desire for city life, globalization and economic expansion. As a result of their slower expansion, smaller European cities have moved their focus to the environment and raising the living standards of their residents. Cities in Scandinavia and Central Europe have consistently ranked among the best in the world for sustainable development, satisfaction, and well-being while sustaining their economic dominance in recent years. However, millions of people are relocating to cities in major urban regions, as many traditional rural-based companies become mechanized, resulting in a significant demand for residential space, which in turn is frequently satisfied by high-rise structures. Let's take a look at some of Europe's most beautiful skyscraperless cities. Prague. Prague is sometimes referred to as the City of 100 Spires because of its breathtakingly gorgeous cityscape of low-rise buildings, punctured by hundreds of spires, towers, castles, and steeples that highlight the skyline. It is possible to observe this magnificent landscape from the hillside of Prague Castle, and you will be grateful that the city has remained largely untouched since medieval times. St. Petersburg. Considering that St. Petersburg is such a large city with a population of 6.2 million people, you would expect it to be densely packed with skyscrapers. However, with the exception of the Lakhta Center, which was built on the outskirts, the city has managed to dodge the high-rise trend. Instead, travelers are treated to spectacular views of landmarks such as St. Isaac's Cathedral, St. Peter and Paul Cathedral, and the Church of the Saviour on Spilled Blood, among others. Dublin. Dublin has long made a compelling case for itself as a low-rise city, which means that landmarks like Trinity College and Christ Church Cathedral, as well as neighborhoods such as Temple Bar and O'Connell Street, continue to be popular destinations for tourists. So there you have it, the reasons why Europe doesn't have many skyscrapers. The old continent certainly is home to a plethora of breathtaking bucket list-worthy places. So what are you waiting for? I hope you enjoyed this luxury tour. If so, then give this video a thumbs up and ring the notification bell button for our latest updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.